Melissa Bonsack, and welcome to episode 87 of Books Cubed, the show where I chat with authors you should be reading. It is Thursday, January 21st, 2021. This week, I'm joined by my sometimes co-host, Terri M. Collica, and we are chatting our year in review. So we're talking about all our favorite books from the year. If you are a normal listener of the show, a regular listener of the show, I'm sure you're all normal. If you're a regular listener of the show, you know that every book that we talk about on here is a must read, but sometimes there are books that really stand out. And we want to talk about a few of those this week. So that's what we're doing. Let's get right to it, and I'll see you after. It is great to see you again, Terri. I feel like we haven't talked in years.
It's been forever. A lot's happened to both of us in this time.
It has. And I thought, it's January. We have a new presidency coming in tomorrow, the 20th. We're recording on January 19th. And it's just a good time to talk about last year in books, just books. We're just going to talk books. And I've got four that I really want to talk about. And
Okay.
then we'll talk about some other things too. And you said you had some books too to talk about?
Yeah, I made a little list of course, I either have them on Audible or I have it read to me, text aloud. But yes, and I have my favorite books cubed also.
Well, Terri can't drink right now because you had some surgery, you said?
Yeah, I had some eye surgery. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm drinking for both of us, and I've got
Okay.
this lovely Stella pineapple. I would drink my beloved Zacapa, but this late at night, it's going to put me to sleep, and I don't want to
That's
fall
right.
asleep.
It's close to bedtime.
Yeah, yeah. So this is Stella Rosa pineapple. I can't read it. A low alcohol grape wine, maybe something. I don't know. I haven't
How
tried
many
it.
have you had already?
Yeah, I love pineapple, so I thought, oh, why not? So I'm gonna take a sip.
Where
Oh,
do
it's
you
not bad.
get
It kind of tastes like a Chardonnay, a sweet Chardonnay.
Where do you get that?
We were at Walmart, and I was going down the aisle getting. I was looking to see if we needed wine. Um, my kids drink like I forget what it's called, but my husband said no, they have plenty. My kids are old.
Yeah, you better say
They're
that.
old, old, old. They're not young. They're really old.
Knocking at your door.
Yeah, no. They're very old. They're like 30. So anyway, so I saw this and thought, "Oh, this is perfect for me to drink as we chat books."
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy year. It is January. It will be January. Let's see, what day is it? Let me look at the calendar here. This will go out on the 21st of January. So here it is, third week of January 2021. And still feels like it's kind of a crazy year going on.
No, I know. We were just getting the notice. Hopefully, I'm going to be up. I may just stay up. 6 a.m. we can start calling our Publix and see if we can get shots.
Great.
And yeah. And I have a friend who she got on the list from the health department in our county, but now they're not even doing that.
Oh,
You have to call the Publix and see. And I don't know which Publix it's going to be. I'm going to call. There's two on our road actually. Our big road out there. But keep your fingers crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, I found out that there was some extra left over at the pharmacy right down the street from our house, and they were just giving it to anybody. But we didn't find out about it until it was too late.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of bummed. But we social distance, we wear masks, we wash our hands constantly.
Yep.
Um, if people walk by us without a mask on, we give them a dirty look. And sometimes, and my husband has said something in the past, if we're at out and you can't get away from the person,
Yeah.
um, it's polite. The public welfare, the public health comes before. But
Mhm.
anyway, but we won't get into politics here.
I know.
Um,
I know we
but
won't.
actually, that's life and death. So screw you. It's not politics anyway. So let's talk books. now that
Okay.
nobody wants
Very
to listen
specific.
anymore.
We're on
Um,
this side, but we'll just talk books.
yeah, I think this is I don't know, there's like 88 or 89 episodes. Or maybe not that many. No, I've got a few in the hopper. So um, I don't know, there's at least 85 episodes. Lots of great books that I have, Terri and I alone have chatted with people over this last year. And some I'm going to talk about today. One of them's from 2 years ago, but it's so good. I hate to not include it. And I did not do a best of year last year. Um, so just if you like books, go back and just look at the titles for all the shows. I always title them so that you know what kind of book we'll be talking about, whether it's young adult or dystopian or horror or romance, that kind of thing. So, but there was a few books. I like all the books that I've had on the show, but there are a few that really stay with me, and I think about those and or the series, and those ones I'm going to talk about today. So, and why don't you go ahead and start, Terri, since I've been yakking so much?
Well, not all of mine have appeared
Oh,
on.
and I'm sorry, go up a little bit. We're losing you at your chin.
You are? Well,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, there you go. You're wearing black, but it's cutting. You're cut off. If you're watching on video, her camera got a little low, and I don't want her to have to be
Yeah.
lost in the. There you go. And if you're not watching on video, Terri's got a cloudy moon night as her background, and I have the beach as my background. So it's night and day.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to be looking down, so I better get up. Get
There
up
you go.
to the moon. Well, I guess one of my favorites was that, and you interviewed Cecelia Mecca on your podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, she is just so beautiful, for one thing. She's gorgeous. She's very articulate. And uh, with all transparency, I won her book. You had a little, as you usually do, a little drawing, and I got it, and I loved it. I loved it. I got the book. She autographed it, but I listened to it on Audible, and yeah, it was really good. And it's a little out of my genre, that I usually read, but you know, vampires, and
romance.
they're just so sexy.
Yes. Yes. I think that you won the one that I listened to, and I kept having to pull over in the car because I was going someplace I'd never been before. So I had the directions on, and the book is like, he put his hands tenderly on her, turn left at the next red light. Like, ah! So I
Yeah.
finally had to there was a scene that I just could not get through because like the directions was like every 30 feet there was another turn. So I just pulled to the side of the road and let the scene finish.
Yeah, yeah. It was really good. I loved it. So
Yeah, she does historical romance and the vampire romance, and of course there's some history involved with the vampires, and you really feel like you're there,
yeah.
especially when she's doing her Scottish Highland series. It's it's very engrossing. It pulls you right in. Yeah, her books are excellent. Excellent. And for everybody listening, I will have all the links in the show notes for all the books that we've talked about today. So you don't have to scroll back through previous shows just to try to figure out where to find these books. So yeah, she's great. She's great. And she's the sweetest person. So sweet. So sweet.
Yeah, she really seems like it. So we would definitely recommend her books.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'll go now. Are you done?
Yeah, well, your turn.
Okay, I'll go now so you don't have to. Okay, I have to go into my I have to minimize this here. And I have to go into my notes on the computer. So let me see if I can find them now. They're here somewhere. They better be. I did them all this afternoon. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start with Jeannie Wycherley. I'm going to say her name wrong. I'm so sorry, Jeannie. She was on the show twice. Once she was on to talk about her Wonky Witch series, and they are really funny. And oh, that's the other thing I was going to we'll go back and we'll read. Before we do this, let me just read real quick. Do you have Cecilia's the description for her book that you read?
I don't have it up.
Okay, grab it up, and then I'm going to read this one, and then we'll go back and do that one, just so people get a description for these. But let me read. This is the series. It's their of course, mysteries and cozy and witches. And the series is called Wonky Inn. Oh no, it's not. The series is called, yes, it is. It's called Wonky Inn. There's 11 books in the series now. Jeannie was on twice. She was on once to talk about her books, and then once she did writing prompts with us. And her writing prompt was so funny. Just so much fun to listen to. So let me read this description from The Wonkiest Witch, which was the first. I think this might be from it might be from The Wonkiest Witch. Okay, so from book one, Alfred. Oh, I'm going to say the name wrong. An inn has been inherited. And a dead body, estranged from her witch mother and having committed too little in her 30 years, Alf surprises herself when she decides to start a new life. She heads deep into the English countryside, intent on making a success of the once popular inn. However, discovering the murderer throws her a curveball, especially when she suspects dark magic. Additionally, a less than warm welcome from several locals persuades her that a variety of folk of both the mortal and magical persuasions have it in for her. The dilapidated inn presents a huge challenge for Alf. Uncertain who to trust, she considers calling time on the venture. Should she pack her bags and head back to London? Don't be daft. Alf's magical powers maybe as wonky as the inn, but she's dead set on finding the murderer. Once a witch, always a witch, and this one is fighting back. A clean and cozy witch mystery. Take the opportunity to immerse yourself in this fantastic new witch mystery series from the author of award-winning novel Crone. So it was fun. It's a fun story. She's a great character. I love cozies anyway. And you add in some supernatural elements, and I am there completely. And it's funny. And she was such a sweet lady. We had her on the show. I want to say, where was she from? Do you remember? It was she had an accent.
I don't know. South, maybe. I don't know.
I hate to say she's from the UK when she's not, especially if someone's from Australia and you say they're from the UK.
Usually, if I hear them, I can tell the difference, but I
Yeah.
forgot. Like,
I'm so sorry, Jeannie. It's Jeannie. Yeah, I probably should have looked that up before I started all this. Anyway, she's from somewhere across the pond. And she has a lovely accent and she's very sweet and her books are really good. So if you like witches, Wonky Inn is a series to take a look at. Did you find the description for
no, it's going to take me too long on the laptop.
Okay.
So sorry.
Well, sorry, Cecelia, but Cecilia's books, like I said, if you like Outlander, you need to read Cecilia's books. She's got several series that are Outlander style, and they are excellent. The covers have hunky guys in kilts with swords, and they're just wonderful, absolutely wonderful books. So, do you have another one that you want to talk about next?
Well, I don't think you've interviewed these people, but I have.
Oh, okay, great.
I actually, one of my favorite series is a series by Charles Finch, and it takes place in England too, but he's American and he writes the books, and they take place in England. And he was at the Murder by the Beach bookstore earlier in the year, and we went down, and there weren't that many people there because they had just they were sort of toying with whether they were going to close down because of the pandemic or they were going to stay open. So they were still open, and he came in and he was just the sweetest guy. I mean, really, first of all, he says, well, everybody, because I went over and I introduced myself and he said, call me Charlie. And he immediately, asked if I wrote, and I talked a little bit, and, he he just turned it right to me. And I thought, you know, I've got 2 books out, anyway, I did, they're not really cozy mysteries, but they are mysteries. They take place, he was actually there, going back to writing the 3-book prequel to his Charles Lennox series. And yeah, 3 books and a prequel. And he had written, I think he's written 13, maybe 14 total books.
Okay, yeah, I know the series. Yeah. Oh shoot, I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah, you would have loved him. And the book that the last one I read was The Last Passenger, and that's the last in the 3-book prequel. And I've read all the others. So he's having a new one though coming out soon. And it's one of those series that I just can't wait. Just can't wait.
It's mystery. It takes place in present time.
No, it takes place back in time. The prequel, when he goes back to the prequel, it's like 1850s. Yeah. So
where's
historical.
the setting?
It's in, is it in London? It's the lake. I'm trying to think if it's actually in London, but it's a metropolitan area. But his covers usually have pictures where you can just go back in that time and you can just see it, and you just feel like you're there. I mean, he really explains things very well, where he just takes you back in time. So
is the lead a detective or a police officer, or?
He's a detective, murder detective squad. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I know the series that you're talking about. I remember you might have told me about it, and I might have gone to look at it. You probably did. Yeah, I know the series, and I thought, ooh, I remember thinking that sounded interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have that one? I should have told you. Pull up so we can read the descriptions.
I know.
I'm sorry.
You go to the next one. I will try. I will try again.
Oh, here. What's the name of it?
It's The Last Passenger.
The Last Passenger. Whoops, I'm moving my thingy here. Oh, here he is. Okay. Charles Finch. Okay, so let's see. Charles Finch jumps headlong into the detective business to help a friend in need in this enthralling first mystery in the New York Times bestselling series. Charles Lennox, Victorian gentleman and armchair explorer, likes nothing more than to relax in his private study with a cup of tea, a roaring fire, and a good book. But when his lifelong friend, Lady Jane, asks for his help, Lennox cannot resist the chance to unravel a mystery. Prudence Smith, one of Jane's former servants, is dead of an apparent suicide, but Lennox expects something far more sinister. Suspects. Boy, I have to get new glasses because I can't quite read. I have to get kind of close, and then I'm too close. Murder by a rare and deadly poison. The grand house where the girl worked is full of suspects, and though Prue had dabbled with the hearts of more than a few men, Lennox is baffled by the motive for the girl's death. When another body turns up during the London season's most fashionable ball, Lennox must untangle a web of loyalties and animosities. Was it jealousy that killed Prudence Smith, or was it something else entirely? And can Lennox find the answer before the killer strikes again? This time, disturbingly close to home. Dun dun dun. Yeah, oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. And yeah, if you like historicals, I guess you can call 1800 historicals. You should.
Yeah.
You should. Yeah.
Oh, there's also some romance in it. I mean, actually, that book was the first one in the series, but when I saw him, he had written the 3rd prequel. But it follows that romance between him and Jane, Lady Jane, and they live on a London street. His Charles Lennox, the main character, is I guess you would say in sort of the gentry. His brother is in Parliament. So, yeah. And so they had that political intrigue later on, and they live on this cobblestone street. He does, and right next door to Lady Jane. And
Oh,
it's really,
convenient.
yeah, yeah. But everything's above board back then. Anyway, it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, it does sound good. It does sound good. Yeah, I like historical a lot. So, okay. So let me get to my next book, which is, let me find it here. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Okay. This one is, you ever remember those on YouTube? They had that guy narrating the honey badger videos. The honey badger likes to, whatever the honey badger did. And just his voice was really interesting. And um I don't know. Anyway, so I listened to this next book, Tales of the Apocalypse, a duck and covers series. And the first book in the series was called Post-Apocalyptic Nomadic Warrior. It's by Benjamin Wallace. And hysterical. His books are so funny. On the cover is a army boot lifting up off the ground, and the heel has a big wad of gum stuck to it. And off in the distance, you can see the remains of a city and an RV in front of it. And the cover, I never click on things on Facebook, never. And this was a Facebook sponsored ad, and I saw that cover and I went, "Oh yeah, that's for me."
Uh-huh.
And I clicked on it and I went ahead and got the audiobook. And the guy, he sounds like the honey badger guy. I looked him up and he's not, but it's things like he wanted her to stop, but she didn't. But he said to stop, but she didn't. I don't know. It just, I don't do it justice.
You've
You
seen it.
need to, if you like post-apoc, you need to listen to these books. And I'm going to read the description here. I've
Okay.
only listened to the first one. I have I have the first 3 in my Kindle. I've got 10,000 things in my Kindle. Or it's in my, not my Kindle. It's in my, whatever the audio, uh, whatever the audio program is. So from book 1, no rules, no authorities, no traffic. The end of the world isn't all bad. For Jerry, it was a chance to start over. But after years of traveling the wasteland and helping those in need, he's starting to realize his heart isn't really in it anymore. So, for the first time since the world ended, he's considering a career change. Maybe something with more food and less getting shot at. But when he learns that an army of vicious raiders is planning to wipe out the peaceful town of New Hope, he realizes he can't escape what he truly is, a post apocalyptic nomadic warrior. I get chills. This book
Huh.
was, if you love comedy, if you love post apoc, you will absolutely die for these books. They are, well, I don't know about, I mean, I've only listened to the first one. It is wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, it's, and the cover is what caught my eye. And it's that way with so many readers. Writers have to be really careful. You can write a fantastic book, but if you don't have a good book cover, no one is going to read it. I know Terri came with me to the first book show that I did, and I wanted to test out. I had written How to Sex Your Snake, and before I wrote the second one, I just wanted to get kind of a feel for what people thought of it. And I hadn't really learned about ads or anything yet. So I knew someone who is a very good artist, had done a lot of work with Nintendo and other things, other places, very well known artist too. And so they did a cover for me of his gorgeous coiled rattlesnake with a stopwatch, no, a compass sitting in the middle of the snake, and the snake's head is kind of sticking up, and he's all these different gorgeous colors and patterns and everything. And it was a white cover originally with that snake on the cover. And as a new author, I thought, oh, this is so great. And this is so different. It's going to be eye catching. And what happened was everybody walked all along the tables, got to mine, saw the snake, and walked 10 feet around my table going, I'm so scared of snakes. Oh, come on. It's a book. There's no snake on the cover. Jeez, people.
It did get
So,
their attention, but
yeah. So I tried it again with a red cover with the same snake, and it was vibrant and gorgeous, and I loved it. And it looked absolutely nothing like any of the other mystery books. And so I had to go and look. And if you're an author, you have to go and look at the top, I'd say the top 20 books in your genre, and you have to copy, pretty much emulate their covers. You can't be different because the reader is looking for something very specific. So when you're looking for a cozy mystery about witches, you want to see a witch on the cover. You want to see it in cartoony looking drawing, and she's got some kind of an animal with her, and maybe some wafting color coming out of a cauldron, maybe. And then you know exactly what it is, and you don't have to read the cover even. So this cover, when I saw that shoe, that army boot with the heel lifted up and the gum on the heel, well, the gum is stuck to his shoe, so I know it's comedy.
Right in. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, oh my gosh. And that just set the tone for me. It was just a fantastic cover. Whoever did Benjamin's covers, they are fantastic. I don't know. Maybe he did them himself. I don't know. I've sent a message to him and he never responded. So if you are listening, Benjamin Wallace, I would love to have you come on the show and chat about this excellent series. So let's move along. What is your next book?
This is a book that I just read. It's called the Thirsty Murder, the Thursday, as in the day, Murder Club. Have you seen that one?
No, but I love the title.
It is really good. It breaks all the really strict rules of writing, in that it starts out like in the first person, and then it goes to third person, which, we're always, well, we have been told, you go, if you're first person, it's that way all the way through. It is really fabulous. And I think the thing that is the best about it is the characters. It takes place in England.
I'm sorry, what's it called?
It's called the Thirsty Murder Club.
Oh, here we go. I just put TH and the whole thing came up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. You could probably see already, it's very popular. It's doing really well. Yeah. And the characters, there's 4 main characters, and they all live in this nursing home, but really upscale nursing home. And they have a club where they like to solve mysteries. And one particular woman has like a diary, and she sort of narrates the story, but you get to know each one of those 4 main characters really well. And all the, I don't know, he's probably got 5 other characters, possible killers, that you get to know too, their background, and you start even rooting and sort of wind up loving a murderer at the end. And it was just fabulous. His characterization is exquisite. I only wish I could do it that well. And I thought, this is a great book. I wonder if it's going to be a series, and it is.
There's 2 books in the series so far. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard him interviewed, and he says he's got the rough draft. It's all done, but I think he's got it scheduled for the end of the year. It's like, really, can't you give it to me now? Because it's going to have those 4 main characters again, and it's going to continue on.
Yeah, let me read real quick. It's a very short description. The first book, and the first book is called The Thursday Murder Club. The first book in the #1 best-selling Thursday Murder Club series. In a peaceful retirement village, 4 unlikely friends meet up once a week to investigate unsolved murders. But when a brutal killing takes place on their very doorstep, the Thursday Murder Club finds themselves in the middle of their first live case. Elizabeth Joyce, Abraham, and Ron, maybe pushing 80, but they still have a few tricks up their sleeves. Can our unorthodox but brilliant gang catch the killer before it's too late? Oh, I like that. Yeah, I and B, I couldn't read that. I really have to get new glasses. This is pretty pathetic. That sounds really great. You said the second book is oh, I think the second book may be out already.
No, I looked it up. You can pre-order it.
Oh.
You can now pre-order up to a year in advance. So I think it's due what to come out in October maybe or
Yeah,
something
let me see. It says pre-order. Oh, pre-order. Let's go
maybe
down
August.
here. Publication date September 16th, 2021. Okay. From Penguin. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the problem with uh trad published books. They take forever. It's like one a year. I want
Mhm.
to read, I want to sit and I want to read a book every 4 months from the author. There's absolutely no reason for it to take as long as it does. There really isn't. I mean, I'm sure there is, but as the reader, I don't want to wait that long.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about this guy. The interviewer brought this out. Now he does television. I think he's a sports announcer
Yeah,
in
it says he's a presenter, Richard Osman. Okay.
so and he has a great voice. Now he did not narrate his book, but he has a great voice himself. But this was his first book.
Wow.
And she said, your first book? And he says, well, I always read crime mysteries were my favorite. Okay. And he's a pantser.
Oh.
This author is very, very close to his mother. And he says that he grew up in a lower class strata. And now he's moved to a middle class strata. And he said the he still talks to his mother and he hears her. I mean, I think that the women are a little bit, well, especially one, Joyce, who is the one that is the first person diarist, and he hears her, and I think it's a tribute to his mother,
Oh, that's
really. I
sweet.
think
Yeah.
also. Now I'm just thinking that,
No, but I mean,
but
it probably is. It probably
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
if you've got those characters and he obviously had a mother and she would have we draw as writers, we draw from people in our lives.
mhm.
You know, sometimes it's us in different forms, and a lot of times it's a combination of people in our lives. But you know, if he had this mother that was really interesting, I can see, and he says he can hear her in his head. Uh, I can totally see that she probably ends up on the page in some form.
She does. Joyce has a daughter who has made it well and has gone to another upper class, probably an upper class,
Yeah.
you know, system there, and she will come and visit her mother sometimes, and take her somewhere, and her mother won't know what to do, and that relationship between them, like, if you came from a really poor environment and one of your children really made it big, and now all the restaurants they want to take you to, you don't even know which spoon or knife to use.
That's me.
And yeah, me too. And at the beginning, the daughter is a little bit, you know, and at the end, you can tell it's changing. That's going to continue, that change and them getting to know each other more in the next book too. So definitely, I think that's a little bit autobiographical.
I like when there is progression of the characters.
Me too.
There, you read series and you love aspects of the characters and things that happen and the interactions. But when you have the same thing happening in every single book, it just becomes tiring. You
Mhm.
know, you want to see change. You don't want so much change that it's no longer the characters that you fell in love with in the first book. But by the time you get to book 20, there should be enough change that if you went back and reread book 1, you're like, wow, I forgot how different, the characters were. They can progress. You can still keep the dynamic between the characters, but they can get new jobs and they can age and they can, you know, experience different things. They can go to different cities. I've got one series. I'm not going to say the series, but I had to
Sounds really
stop.
familiar.
Yeah, really. That I have one series I loved reading, but I had to stop because every single book was the same. Exact same thing happened in every book. I read like the first 5, and there's no reason to read past at all. You just go on to a new person.
Mm.
And I'm almost that way, kind of that way with my Jack Reacher. I love Jack Reacher. And so I've got maybe 6 on the shelf that I have not read yet. And I was just thinking I want to pick one up and start reading one probably this weekend. I thought I've waited about a year between the last one and this one. And I think, he's always in a different city, but
Mhm.
it's right there at the cusp of the same thing always happens, but it kind of doesn't. Things happen a different way, at least. I mean, he's always gonna help out, and he's always gonna catch the bad guy, and he's always gonna be the biggest guy in the room. Uh, but I
Mhm.
think that he mixes it up enough. But if you read like 4 or 5 in a row, which I do sometimes, there's a lot of them out. You get to where you can't read book 6. You can't after 4 or 5 of them. You're like, okay, it's too much. It's too much, too similar. So
Yeah, I really do believe that. I think that happens in definitely cozy mysteries. It's the things that you expect in a genre that later on becomes too familiar, but you do not want them to change. You just need a break from them. And with Jack Reacher, he's solving cases all over the world, but he's still that same, you know, and in cozy mysteries, it's still the dorky, detective who acts like everybody thinks he's not that smart, but he really is, or whatever. And after a while, you have to sort of say, I got to take a break from this guy, but you don't want him to change that much. You depend on that familiarity of the character and the little town or whatever that it's in.
yeah. And I'm on the 3rd book in my June Nash Mysteries, and I had her change a little too much. Excuse me. I've got her in a different city in every book. I'm just finishing up the edits to the 3rd book, and I'm completely rewriting the last chapter because she was too helpful and too eager, and June's not. June's amazingly lazy and amazingly selfish, and she's changing, of course. With each book, she's a little less selfish and a little less lazy. So I had involved her too much. I'm like, oops, no, got to stop. Went back, rewrote. And the last chapter of the book has become 3 chapters now. So yeah, so I was really
Now, did
excited
you
about that.
figure that out, or did your beta readers or your editor sort
No,
of?
I figured that out. My editor had gone through the entire book and sent it back last week with notes, and I went back and I was fixing all the notes, and then I happened to read the last chapter again and went, wait a minute. No, June would not be this helpful.
Mm.
She would not be. She just wouldn't be.
Mhm.
And that's the one thing that the readers seem to like, is that she is selfish. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want to keep certain aspects of her around. So yeah, it's just slow. I figure if I change her very slowly, uh, she'll still be interesting, but hopefully she doesn't overstay her welcome. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So I read the description of that one. Okay. So anything else you want to add about that one?
No, I could talk a long time about it, but no.
So that's the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. So that one is sounds really great. Sounds really great.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go back to dystopian. And I've got a book I was going to hold up. Can you see it? Oh my gosh, you can see it, because for Christmas I got a green screen. So used to be when I went on here without the green screen behind me, I would lose my lovely uh, background. You know, if you're not watching on video, I've got the beach with a palm tree as my background. So anyway, this is still Defender, and it is the 2nd book in Cameron's series. And I'm going to find that it's Rusted Wasteland is the series. There are 3 books. The 3rd it's just about to come out, which is wonderful because I am halfway through. I've been reading like 1 page, maybe 2 pages a day, and then putting it back down because I want to be able to go right from book 2 to book 3 when it comes out. Because I read book 1 and then I'm like, it was like a year went by before I got the next one. Oh, because I had to wait, for her to finish it. And it was killing me because I loved the first one. Second one is so good too. And I'm sure I will love the third one. So let me show you again the cover. Here it is. It's called, this one is called Steel Defender, and the series is called Rusted Wasteland, and it is by Cameron Coral, and she's been on the show. I don't remember when, but I'll have links in the show notes. So let me read this. Can a gentle robot win the fight for humanity's last hope? Before the robot uprising, Block the cleaner bot dutifully followed his programming as part of a hotel cleaning crew. Now, in the aftermath of the AI apocalypse that annihilated the world, he tries to simply do his job, avoiding the dangerous soldier bots who wage war on the last human survivors. But when Block finds a mysterious human infant, he's compelled to care for the girl and travel across the metal-infested wastelands of America to a safe haven 700 miles away. Without proper food and care, the baby could die before he reaches safety. When he encounters Nova, a surly soldier, a human, who becomes an unlikely ally, they must tackle the biggest challenge of their lives. Together, they face mortal danger from bands of scavengers, militaristic soldier bots, combat mechs, and a cyborg bounty hunter that will stop at nothing to find Block and the child, an infant who might hold the key to humanity's future. And I get chills again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I absolutely love this book. In the very beginning, Block is taking care of this teeny little cleaner bot that eventually runs out of power, and he has to leave it. And I'm probably giving away something here, but it broke my heart. It
Yeah.
absolutely destroyed me. And I actually put the book down for about a month after that happened, and then picked it back up again. But it had to be there because you had to show that Block was capable of humanity. You know,
Mhm.
he's a robot, but he
Mhm.
was capable of taking care of this child. And these are robots. There's one human that finally comes into the first book, and it's mostly robots. And it has more humanity than a lot of books about people that I've read. She does an amazing job of taking us along and making and humanizing these robots. But they're not human, of course. They're robots. And it's just a wonderful world that she has created. It's so great. If you let's see, this is going to be post-apoc, of course, and robots, of course. So no magic. Sorry, not in this one. Um, but he's just a great character.
I think I don't read that genre, but I might read that one. In that it scares me because, I think maybe we're heading that way. And in another lifetime, maybe I'll be the little baby that,
Yeah.
and robots, even now, we have more and more robots doing things, maybe just as a Zumba or whatever. But anyway, they can be scary. And there's been sci-fi written a long time where the robot becomes more human than, and they have to be destroyed because they become enemies. But that one seems the other end.
Yeah,
He's
it
a
gives you,
good human.
yeah, it gives you great hope. It really does. And
Yes,
it
yes.
just those first few chapters when he's trying to take care of this little cleaner that he found, and it behaves very much like a human child. It's like a little R2D2 type. I forget what it was exactly, but like I said, I had to stop when it ran out of power and he had to leave it. I had to stop. I'm sorry about the spoiler, but it's only like a couple chapters in.
Yeah,
But it had to be there to set up what kind of character this robot was.
yeah.
Yeah, and I forget. Oh God, I was going to say I should have gone back and listened because she talked about how he came about and such. And I think she'd had a niece, her brother or sister had a child, and then she started thinking about humanity and children and robots and came up with it from there. But her interview, I'll have links in the show notes, of course. Her interview was excellent, and she talks about her book and she reads a sample from it. So that's one to listen to. Okay, do you have any more?
I do. Do you want to
Cool,
hear?
go ahead.
Let me just look here. Actually, it was, and you can probably
Oh, I'll look
You
it up
had
as you say what it is.
you had Michele Berger. I think that is it Berger? I can't even read my own writing. The one the culture of hair
Oh,
pandemics
the culture of hair.
and something, I think.
Ah, if I could spell it correctly, I sure could find it. Yes. Culture of hair. Yes, she was so interesting. Hang on.
It was episode, let's see, did I write the episode down? No,
And
I
I
didn't
just
on that one.
go ahead. I was just, and I almost put hers. I was torn because I thought I only want to do 4 because if I do 5, it's too many. But yeah, let me look it up real quick and see if I can find it. She
And
was
that was one of
so interesting. Whoops, I
yeah, that
gotta
was
fix this
very,
here.
very, very interesting and so real.
Here we go. Here's her book. Okay. So it's called ReenuYou, REENU dash capital YOU. And it's by Michele Tracy Berger. So let me read the description real quick. What if a visit to a salon could kill you? What if a hair product bordered a deadly virus? Kat is an out of work ski instructor who just wants to pack up her deceased mother's things, leave New York City, and return to Aspen. Constancia is a talented but troubled young woman who just wants to start her first semester at college. In different shops across New York City, they and hundreds of other women of color try a new hair relaxer called ReenuYou. Then things start to go horribly awry. Within days, they find themselves covered in purple scab like lesions, a rash that pulses, oozes, and spreads in spiral patterns. They're at the epicenter of a mysterious virus spreading throughout the city. As the outbreak spreads and new cases pop up in Black and Latino communities throughout New York, panic, anger, and questions fill the streets. What is this virus and where does it come from? Is it corporate malfeasance or is this an orchestrated plot to kill minority women? In the face of a terrifying and uncertain future, Kat, Constancia, and a small band of other affected women are forced to confront their deepest fears to save themselves and others. As the world crumbles around them, they will soon discover more about each other, learn about themselves, and draw strength to face the future together. ReenuYou looks at the social and political meanings of hair, female friendship, and viruses. And I thought it was really interesting that, this is pre-pandemic when she had done this. And when did I chat with her? I want to say that the pandemic had actually started. When was this one published? Let me see. Let me go back to episode list here. Yeah. Okay, I didn't make any changes. All I did was copy something. January 14th. So we just had the very beginnings of the virus
Worried about
in
it.
China, and I don't know if it had gotten to Europe yet. And so I think we might have talked just a teeny bit about that. But she wrote about something right before it happened. It was very topical. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I I failed to write down the renew you, which really is the title, the first word of the title, right? The first two words, because what really caught me was that the hair, the culture of hair, a pandemic, and sisterhood. I mean, those are like the themes that run through that. And renew you. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the name of the product, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
loved the interview and I loved the book.
all right. So my next book, let's see. First Apoc, Wonky Witches. Is that it? Oh, okay. The next one was an interview from this year, but I love the series, the concept, the writing, and the interview so much that I'm going to mention it. It's last week's show, actually, with Duffina Daly. And did you listen yet?
Um, maybe not.
You
I,
might be behind, yeah, because you had a bunch of stuff you had to do. Uh, so let me find Duffina's series is called A Golden Dreg Boy,
mm, mm,
and she deals with the concepts of rich, poor, black, white, inequality. Um, it's conspiracy. Uh, there is something that happens at the end of the first book that's like, whoa! It just blew my mind. Absolutely loved it. So let me read the description. It's really short. In the ruins of San Francisco, California, survivors of an epidemic that swept the nation have pooled inside their cities, reconstructing life as we know it, pitting the rich Golden against the poor Dreg. The Golden govern everything, living above the city in four sectors. They look down on the Dreg slums. Against all odds, the Dregs have become survivors. Unable to afford proper care, their immune systems have adapted to protect them against the diseases now infecting the Golden. So this boy, Cade, has he's grown up Golden, and he comes to find out. I think he's like 17, maybe. He comes to find out that he is actually Dreg, and he has ended up with this Golden family, and he's arrested and sentenced to death for impersonating a Golden, and he is rescued by a group of dregs that he had run into in the beginning of the book at a skate park, and it is very exciting. It is very exciting. So he has to try to figure out who he really is, why things are the way they are, and as I said, there's a really cool ending to the first book that sets up future books, and you'll just be kind of like, whoa, I can't believe that's so cool, and how, what's going to happen going forward. It and she reads from the book in the episode last week. So if you want to hear a short, I think she read like 5 pages, a little short section, there's a little short action sequence I asked her to read just because it was very exciting. I said, oh, that's a good one, so read that one. But this is of course post-apoc, kind of a theme going here tonight.
Yeah.
Lots of post-apoc. We've got the Wonky Witches, which is comforting. I like witches, and it's a cozy, and cozy's already comforting and always comforting. And we've got Cecelia with the romances, which are sweet, and those will save us from the post-apoc. But I think this year I have read a lot of post-apoc. I think I had heard that post-apoc wasn't doing all that well, but virus-themed books were doing really well. You'd think that people would have had enough of virus.
Yeah.
And you'd think that romance would just be selling like crazy because people want happy, especially
Well,
sweet
still
romance with
going.
closed doors, Yeah. So, but those are my picks. As I said before, you can look at any of the shows that we've done on Books Cubed here, and any of the books I would recommend. And you just scroll through the titles and see what appeals to you, and give it a listen. And most of the authors, excuse me, have read samples from their books. And if they haven't read a sample, then you can go to Amazon or any of the retailers, click on the book cover, and you'll get a free sample, and you can check out the books yourself. And as I mention often, I think I mentioned it last week even, don't forget that if you have a library card, you can download the Libby, Libby app, and you can get library books through the app for free, and the authors get paid. So you get it for free, the authors get paid. If you don't see your favorite indie author listed, contact your library and ask them to buy the book. If enough people do it, they will get the books. And if you ask really nicely, they may buy the book anyway, and the librarian may like it. It's a good way to get books. If you don't have a library card, you don't have to go to the library even to do it. My husband didn't have one and wanted to listen to the Harry Potter books. He'd never heard them. So he just called the library, and he got a library card over the phone. So, and he listens to all the Harry Potter books are on there. And so he downloads one periodically, and we listen to it as we drive, and he's a happy camper. So anyway, so those are my and suggestions of my favorite ones from this past year in books. I love all of them. There's so many more. Tom Fowler's books, C.T. Ferguson, are
That was one
excellent
I put down.
mysteries. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent mysteries. There's just so many that I've chatted with on here. We have a friend, Laura Bowden. How do you say her last name? She wrote
From the
Orangaclaws. Is it called Orangaclaws?
The
It's
orangutan.
you look that one up. Yeah, it's a children's
And I
book.
wrote it down. It was one
I,
of the ones that I really liked. And
yeah, I bought it for my niece. I went to her. She did a talk at the library, and so I went and listened and bought a copy for my niece. And it's at the zoo, and I guess Santa isn't coming. I'm trying to remember. So this orangutan dresses up like Santa and delivers presents to the other animals of the zoo, and the ending is really funny and unexpected, and it's an excellent book. It's a Christmas book, but you can read books any time of the year. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas or not. It's an excellent
orangutan
one for children.
night before Christmas. The orangutan's night before Christmas.
Orangutan's Night Before Christmas. Okay, and I'm going to add that one. Hope I remember all these. Orangutan Night Before Christmas. Okay, just so I put these all in the show notes. Let's see. So I think I have everything listed on here, but just so I don't forget, send me the ones that we talked about.
Okay.
So I make sure I put them in the show notes. I'll listen to this again, but it doesn't mean I'll actually remember to put it in the show notes unless it's written down. I'm really bad about that kind of thing. So we'll have them all in the show notes. And I think that's about it. How are your eyes doing? I meant to ask you in the beginning. I'm sorry.
Well, it was a tricky surgery. That's what my doctor said. And yeah, it will take up to about a month before they settle. My vision settles again. Probably have to get new glasses. Maybe we can go together.
Oh yeah.
And
I think I have blue. Yeah, I have these blue Ray-Bans I got. These are my glasses right now. Of course, I have trifocals, so I can't see anything because the computer's too close. I have to kind of lift my head up. Yeah. But yeah, these are I went to Walmart so I could buy cheap glasses, and then I bought the most expensive Ray-Bans that they had. Oh well. So it'll be a month before you I like the blue ones you're wearing right now.
Yeah, these I help me a little bit when I'm on the computer. I don't usually wear these. I wear the others, but
I was gonna say usually they're clear, maybe, or
yeah,
light pink.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll have you back on again soon, and we'll be talking about something probably book related.
Probably so.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
As always, I want to thank Terri for coming on and co-hosting with me this time. Everything that we talked about will be down in the show notes. So look for your favorite genre and grab those books. And that's it for this week. If you enjoyed the show, please drop down to the show notes, click on the word comment. It will take you over to our YouTube channel if you're not already there. And you can go ahead and leave me a message. Let us know what you thought of the show. And by us, I mean me. Let me, or Terri too. Sorry, Terri. Let us know what you thought of the show. And if you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. I guess you click that button, I don't know, somewhere down there, and you ring a bell and it tells you when the show is out. It's out every Thursday. And if you are on the podcast, you can go down to the page there and there's some stars. Give us some star love. We'd appreciate that. And that's it for now. I have another great show for you next week. Elise and I are back with a writing prompt show, and we have a newbie this week. So I'm very excited to bring you that show. Until then, go read a good book. Okay. Oh, I gotta just end this.